Did you know that the way you urinate might hold the key to your longevity after the age of 70? It's a captivating truth that often flies under the radar, yet it can reveal profound insights into our health. Today, we're embarking on a journey to explore the intriguing relationship between urination patterns and lifespan. As we delve into this often overlooked aspect of well-being, you'll discover how subtle shifts in your urinary habits can serve as important signals about your overall health. But this isn't just about managing daily routines. It's about empowering ourselves to take proactive measures for a healthier, longer life. If you or someone you care about is navigating the complexities of aging, you're in the right place. Join us as we unveil critical information that not only enhances your quality of life, but may also extend your years beyond 70. Stay tuned. This is a conversation you won't want to miss for sure. Meet Paul, a man who has spent his 70s defying the expectations many might have about aging. With a spring in his step and a joyful approach to life, Paul embraces each day with a sense of purpose and vitality that inspires everyone around him. His mornings are a perfect reflection of this energy. As the soft light of dawn begins to creep through the curtains, Paul rises, greeting the new day with a calm yet determined spirit. Before he even thinks about his breakfast, he takes a few moments to breathe deeply, appreciating the quiet of the early hours before the world begins to stir. Paul's morning routine is more than just a habit. It's a ritual that keeps him grounded and connected to the simple pleasures of life. He starts with gentle stretching exercises in the cozy warmth of his living room, taking time to release the stiffness from his body, particularly his lower back and legs. He moves with intention, reminding himself of the importance of flexibility at his age, knowing how vital it is for keeping his mobility strong. After stretching, Paul laces up his walking shoes and heads out the door for his favorite part of the day, a brisk walk around his neighborhood. The morning air is crisp and the world feels fresh. As Paul walks, he finds joy in the details that others might overlook. He notices how the flowers in his neighbor's garden have bloomed more brightly than the day before, how the birds seem to sing just for him, and how the sky shifts from soft pinks to a brilliant blue. He exchanges waves and warm greetings with his neighbors, many of whom admire his commitment to staying active. Paul is known for his consistency. Rain or shine, he's out there every morning, taking in the world around him while maintaining his health. Returning home, Paul enjoys a nutritious breakfast, savoring each bite of his whole grains and fresh fruits. He washes it down with a large glass of water, aware of how essential hydration is, not only for physical energy, but also for mental clarity. His breakfast isn't just a meal, it's another part of his wellness routine, carefully chosen to nourish both body and mind. Paul's day might include tending to his garden, which is his pride and joy. Gardening for him is more than just a hobby. It's a way to stay physically active while connecting with the earth. He loves experimenting with new plants, researching different techniques, and watching as his garden flourishes under his care. It's a calming activity that brings him peace and satisfaction, reminding him that, like his garden, he too can continue to grow and thrive, even in his later years. However, as content as Paul is with his life, he's noticed something lately that has caused him a bit of concern. His nights, once filled with uninterrupted sleep, have begun to change. Where he used to drift off and enjoy hours of restful slumber, he now finds himself waking up more frequently to visit the bathroom. It started slowly, a trip here and there during the night. But as the weeks passed, Paul became aware that these disruptions were becoming more frequent. He initially brushed it off, thinking it was just a minor inconvenience. But as his nights became more interrupted, he couldn't ignore the impact it was having on him. Waking up several times left him groggy and drained in the morning, making it harder to enjoy his morning walk or focus on his gardening. As the days went by, Paul also noticed other subtle changes. He began to experience difficulty fully emptying his bladder, which left him feeling uncomfortable. These small but noticeable differences in his urination habits made him realize that something might be wrong. At first, he wondered if this was just a natural part of getting older. But deep down, he knew that ignoring these signs wasn't the right approach. Paul had always been in tune with his body, and now, more than ever, he felt the need to listen to what it was trying to tell him. Paul's experience serves as an important reminder. Changes in urination habits, particularly in older adults, can be a signal that something is off. While it might be easy to attribute these changes to aging, they can also point to more serious health concerns such as urinary tract infections, prostate issues, or other conditions that require attention. What started as a minor disruption to his sleep became a wake-up call for Paul. He knew that if he didn't address it, the issue could escalate, potentially affecting his overall quality of life and well-being. Determined to take charge of his health, Paul reflected on the way he had always approached life, with mindfulness and care. Just as he prioritized his morning routine, his diet, and his physical activity, he now understood that monitoring his urinary health was equally important. These changes, though subtle at first, were a reminder that every aspect of his health matters. And by being proactive, he could ensure that he continued to live the vibrant, active life he so loved. Paul's story encourages us all to be attentive to the signals our bodies send us. It's easy to ignore small changes, but as Paul has learned, those small changes can have a big impact if left unaddressed. By paying attention to these signs early, Paul is able to take the steps necessary to maintain his health, ensuring that his later years are as full of energy, joy, and activity as possible. He knows that the key to a long and healthy life isn't just physical activity or a good diet. It's also about being aware of the body's changing needs and responding to them with care. Common urination issues in the elderly. First, let's dive into the common urination issues the elderly face, because this is something that affects so many more people than we often talk about. You see, as we get older, our bodies go through changes that can significantly affect the way we urinate. It's easy to dismiss these problems as just a normal part of aging, but when we look closely, they're a major concern for a large portion of the elderly population. In fact, about half of men over 60 struggle with some form of urinary issue, while roughly 30% of women are dealing with similar challenges. These statistics tell us that this isn't something to be brushed aside. It's a very real part of aging that impacts daily life in profound ways. And it's not just about managing physical symptoms. It's about maintaining dignity, independence, and overall well-being as we grow older. When we break down what's happening physically, it becomes clear why so many older adults face these challenges. For men, one of the most common issues is benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. This is a non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate gland, and while it's benign, its effects on urination can be anything but minor. As the prostate grows, it squeezes the urethra, which is the passage through which urine flows out of the body. This causes difficulty starting to urinate, incomplete bladder emptying, and a constant feeling of urgency. Many men find themselves making frequent trips to the bathroom, but even then, they often can't fully relieve themselves. Imagine living with that constant discomfort, always feeling like you need to go, but never quite able to. It's more than just a physical problem. It can chip away at your quality of life over time. For women, the conversation often revolves around urinary incontinence, which is the involuntary leakage of urine. This can happen for a variety of reasons, especially due to the weakening of the pelvic floor muscles as women age. Factors like childbirth and hormonal shifts during menopause only add to the problem. Women may find themselves leaking urine during everyday activities like sneezing, coughing, or even laughing, which can be not only uncomfortable but also embarrassing. The emotional weight of this can't be understated.
Think about the fear of going out in public or participating in social activities, always worrying about whether an accident might happen. That kind of anxiety can lead to isolation, depression, and a real loss of confidence in everyday life. But there's more to these urinary issues than just the physical or emotional aspects. We have to think about how they affect other areas of health too. For example, nocturia, which is the need to urinate frequently at night, disrupts sleep patterns. And when sleep is disturbed regularly, it can lead to bigger problems like cognitive decline, fatigue, and even a higher risk of falls. Lack of sleep weakens the immune system and leaves the body more vulnerable to infections and other illnesses. So, when we talk about urinary issues in the elderly, we're really talking about something that affects the entire body and mind. These problems can set off a chain reaction that impacts someone's overall health, safety, and ability to live independently. Now, the stigma around these issues often prevents people from seeking the help they need. Many older adults, both men and women, feel embarrassed to talk about their urinary struggles, thinking it's just a part of getting older that they have to deal with. But that's not true. There are treatments, therapies, and interventions available that can significantly improve their quality of life. Medications, physical therapy for pelvic floor strengthening, lifestyle changes, and in some cases surgical options can all make a real difference. The key is getting past that initial discomfort in discussing it. If we can encourage open and honest conversations, whether it's with doctors, family members, or caregivers, people will be more likely to seek out the solutions that can help them. The ripple effect these issues have on caregivers. If someone is living with frequent urination problems, it's often the people around them who are affected as well. Spouses, children, and professional caregivers might find themselves constantly adjusting their schedules to assist with frequent trips to the bathroom or dealing with accidents. This can create strain in relationships, increase stress, and lead to burnout among caregivers. The physical and emotional demands can be heavy, and they're often overlooked. So when we address these urinary problems, we have to think beyond just the person experiencing them. We have to include their support system in the conversation. One of the biggest challenges we face is shifting the mindset around aging and these kinds of health issues. People often think there's nothing they can do, that they just have to accept these problems as a natural part of getting older. But that's not the case. Early intervention can make a huge difference. Regular checkups, staying informed about changes in your body, and being proactive in addressing any urinary issues can help prevent these problems from becoming more severe.
When we approach aging with a mindset of prevention rather than just management, we can take control of our health and maintain a higher quality of life for longer. Understanding the psychological toll these issues can take. Feeling like your body is no longer under your control can be deeply distressing. For many elderly adults, these urinary problems lead to feelings of frustration, helplessness, and even shame. This isn't just about the inconvenience of needing to use the bathroom frequently. It's about how these issues can strip away a sense of independence and confidence. As we age, the goal should be to help people maintain their dignity, and part of that involves addressing these urinary issues with compassion and understanding. There are many ways to manage these problems, depending on the specific situation. For men dealing with BPH, medications that reduce the size of the prostate or relax the muscles around the urethra can provide significant relief. For women with incontinence, pelvic floor exercises, bladder training, and in some cases, surgical options can help regain control. In both cases, lifestyle changes such as maintaining a healthy weight, staying active, and adjusting fluid intake can also have a positive impact. It's all about finding the right combination of treatments that work for each individual. And the sooner these issues are addressed, the better the outcome. The connection between urination and overall health. And the next point, let us ask you a question. Have we ever thought about how much our bodies communicate with us daily, even through something as simple as urination? Often, we don't give it much thought because it seems like just another biological function. But in reality, our urinary habits are like a language our body speaks, telling us stories about what's happening beneath the surface. Just like we rely on clear communication to resolve issues in our relationships, our body's signals, including changes in urination, are ways it communicates its needs and concerns. Paying attention to these changes can provide us with early clues about our health, guiding us toward early intervention before small issues grow into larger problems. Imagine a city's drainage system. When everything is flowing smoothly, the city thrives. But when there are blockages or issues with water flow, it's a sign that something's wrong with the infrastructure. Our urinary system functions in a similar way. It quietly works to filter and remove toxins, keeping our internal systems balanced and healthy. But when that flow is disrupted, whether through changes in frequency, color, or sensation, our body is signaling that there may be an issue. It could be as simple as dehydration, or it could be the early signs of something more complex, like kidney problems, diabetes, or hypertension. The key is to recognize that these changes, though subtle, are not to be ignored. And as we grow older, these changes become even more important to monitor. We might notice that the frequency of urination increases, or we may experience discomfort that wasn't there before. While it's easy to brush these off as just part of getting older, they could be the early signs of more serious conditions. Urinary tract infections, UTIs, are more common in older adults, and if left untreated, they can escalate into kidney infections or sepsis. We've all heard of stories where minor discomforts were ignored, leading to emergency situations that could have been avoided with timely care. Understanding the risks and taking small changes in urination seriously can make a significant difference in maintaining our long-term health. But it's not just infections we're talking about. Conditions like prostate enlargement in men or bladder issues in women often present themselves through changes in urination. These can be gradual changes, easy to overlook, but they hold the potential for serious complications if not addressed. Chronic kidney disease, for instance, doesn't show obvious symptoms until it's progressed significantly, but early indicators often manifest through urination habits. That's why being aware of our body's signals and seeking medical advice when something feels off is crucial for preventing future complications. What we want to highlight here is the power of early detection. The sooner we acknowledge these changes and consult a healthcare provider, the more options we have to address them before they worsen. Preventative care, whether through regular checkups or simple conversations with our doctor, can catch these issues early. And when we take these steps, we're not just addressing the immediate problem, we're also safeguarding our overall health, preventing conditions from spiraling into chronic issues that can significantly impact our quality of life. For many of us, discussing something like urination may feel uncomfortable. There's a stigma attached to talking about such personal issues, especially as we age. But we need to shift our perspective here. These conversations aren't embarrassing, they're empowering. They're a proactive way of taking control of our health and addressing issues before they control us. The more openly we talk about these things with our healthcare providers, and even with our loved ones, the more normalized these conversations become, removing any shame or hesitation we may feel. Paying close attention to changes in urination we're tuning into an important aspect of our health that is often overlooked. It's a small act of self-care that can have significant consequences down the road. So let's commit to listening more carefully to what our bodies are saying and not dismissing changes that seem minor. We all want to live healthier, longer lives, and this is one way we can contribute to that goal, by acknowledging the importance of even the smallest signals our bodies give us. And remember, when it comes to our health, the earlier we act, the better our chances of preventing serious complications. It's not just about the inconvenience of a UTI or discomfort during urination, it's about understanding the larger picture. When we listen to our bodies and take action, we're making an investment in our future health, ensuring we stay strong, vibrant, and well for the years to come. What to do when experiencing abnormalities in urination? You may ask, like so, what to do when experiencing abnormalities in urination? The first thing we need to recognize is that our body is speaking to us. Changes in urination, whether it's an increased need to go, discomfort, or difficulty, shouldn't be ignored. These are signals that something might be off internally, and rather than dismissing them, we should be curious. The smartest move is to seek advice from a healthcare professional. Doing this gives us a chance to understand what's happening, address any potential health issues, and avoid complications. We owe it to ourselves to be proactive, not reactive, when it comes to health. Now, why is this important? Many of us tend to overlook small health changes, thinking they will resolve on their own. But with urinary issues, it's crucial to catch potential problems early. Regular checkups are vital, especially as we get older. These appointments give us the opportunity to detect anything unusual before it escalates into something more serious. Tools like urinalysis, a simple yet powerful test, help identify issues such as infections or elevated proteins. These insights can guide us in understanding the root cause of our symptoms and help us take the right steps to regain control over our health. Let's also talk about the lifestyle choices we make. Our daily habits directly impact our urinary health. Drinking enough water, for example, is something we hear all the time, but how often do we actually prioritize it? Staying hydrated supports healthy bladder function and helps flush out toxins. Adding fruits, vegetables, and balanced meals into our diet promotes not just overall wellness, but also supports kidney function, which is key to urinary health. It's not just what we eat, though. Staying active keeps our body functioning at its best, preventing stagnation and other complications that can arise with aging. But here's another thing to think about. How often do we ignore the need to use the bathroom? Many of us hold in urine when we're busy or think it's inconvenient to go. This habit can lead to more than just temporary discomfort. Over time, it weakens the bladder and increases the risk of infections. We should make it a point to listen to our body's cues and take care of our needs. Responding promptly when our body tells us it's time to go is a small step that can make a significant difference in the long run. Education plays a huge role in this too. Understanding what's normal and what's not can help us take charge of our health. We might assume that urinary problems are just part of getting older, but that doesn't mean we should accept them without question. By educating ourselves about common urinary issues and knowing when to seek help, we empower ourselves to stay healthy. Knowledge is a tool that we can use to prevent unnecessary suffering and ensure that we age with strength and confidence. This is not just about avoiding discomfort. It's about protecting our quality of life. Urinary health is deeply tied to how we feel day to day, both physically and emotionally. When we neglect it, it can interfere with our ability to engage in activities, socialize, and even sleep well. On the flip side, when we take action to address any issues early, we preserve our vitality and maintain the freedom to live life fully. Staying active and managing our health becomes more critical. We need to make these choices deliberately. choices that support our well-being rather than undermine it. The more intentional we are in maintaining our urinary health, the more vibrant and independent we can remain. Taking care of these details isn't just about preventing disease, it's about holding on to the joy and energy we need to live the life we want. Then you may understand what's the problem when we overlook certain habits that seem minor, but over time, they silently work against us. And now, we have the pleasure to present 4 urination habits that may indicate a shorter lifespan. By looking at these habits, we can get a clearer picture of how even small, everyday actions can impact our health in ways we might not realize until it's too late. Let's start with a habit many of us are guilty of: holding in urine for too long. We've all been there, maybe stuck in traffic or caught up in a task, and we decide to wait a little longer before heading to the bathroom. But what we don't often think about is how this habit can create lasting damage to our bladder. The bladder, much like a balloon, can only stretch so much before it starts to lose its ability to bounce back to its normal size. Constantly holding urine causes the bladder to weaken over time, making it harder to empty fully. This creates a breeding ground for infections, not to mention increasing the risk of incontinence later in life. And if that weren't enough, we also risk backflow of urine into the kidneys, which can lead to kidney damage. All of this from simply waiting too long. So, when the body signals that it's time to go, it's not just a casual request, it's a warning that we should take seriously. Next, let's talk about straining to urinate, particularly in men dealing with an enlarged prostate. This habit can seem like just a minor inconvenience, but it can lead to serious complications.
When we strain, it's like trying to push water through a narrow pipe. It may eventually get through, but not without creating pressure and damage. This excess force can weaken the bladder walls and the surrounding pelvic floor muscles, leading to long-term issues like incontinence or even pelvic pain. The constant pressure also increases the likelihood of infections and bladder damage. And beyond that, it puts strain on the kidneys, which over time can lead to much more severe conditions like kidney failure. Straining to urinate isn't just about discomfort. It's our body's way of telling us that something isn't functioning properly, and ignoring that signal can have lasting consequences. Another habit we often don't give enough thought to is not drinking enough water. We hear it all the time: stay hydrated. But the effects of dehydration go far beyond feeling thirsty. When we don't drink enough water, our urine becomes highly concentrated, which may lead to the formation of kidney stones. These painful stones develop when minerals in the urine crystallize due to a lack of fluid, creating blockages that can lead to serious health issues. And it's not just kidney stones we're worried about. Dehydration impacts how well our kidneys can filter waste from the body. Over time, if we consistently deprive our bodies of water, the kidneys begin to suffer, which can lead to diminished function and a decline in overall health. Staying hydrated is one of the simplest and most powerful things we can do to support our urinary health, and it's something we all need to prioritize. Now, let's dive into the fourth habit: frequent nighttime urination, or nocturia. Waking up multiple times during the night to urinate is more than just a nuisance. It can be a sign of deeper health problems. Nocturia interrupts our sleep, leaving us tired during the day and impacting our ability to function at our best. For older adults, it also increases the risk of falls, which can lead to serious injuries. But what we often overlook is that nocturia can indicate underlying health issues, such as heart disease, diabetes, or even prostate problems. Our body is trying to alert us to something bigger when we find ourselves getting up multiple times at night. Addressing the root cause is essential, not just to improve sleep, but to protect our overall health. When we look at these four habits together, a clear message emerges. Our urinary health is closely connected to the broader picture of our well-being. We can't afford to dismiss these warning signs, as they often point to more serious underlying issues that need attention. The bladder, kidneys, and urinary system as a whole play vital roles in maintaining balance in our bodies, and when we ignore them, we disrupt that balance.
The key takeaway here is that we must listen to our bodies. Often, these subtle signs, holding urine, straining, dehydration, or nighttime trips to the bathroom, are the only ways our body communicates that something is wrong. Just as we wouldn't ignore a fire alarm, we shouldn't ignore these signals. Taking action when we notice changes in our urinary habits can be the difference between managing a small issue today or facing a serious health crisis tomorrow. Our health is the result of countless small decisions we make every day, and taking care of our urinary health should be at the top of that list. Whether it's remembering to drink enough water, making time for bathroom breaks, or seeking help when things don't feel right, these habits matter. They are simple choices, but they have the power to protect us from more serious complications down the road. It's not just about avoiding discomfort or inconvenience. It's about safeguarding our quality of life. Each of these habits carries the potential to reduce our lifespan if left unchecked. And that's why it's so important to take them seriously. Our bodies have an incredible capacity to heal and recover, but only if we give them the care and attention they deserve. So let's commit to making these small but powerful changes today. Let's be proactive in addressing these habits before they lead to more significant health issues. Our future selves will thank us for it, and we'll be able to enjoy healthier, more vibrant years ahead.